Have you ever noticed that the strongest tree is not the one that makes the most noise when the wind arrives? It is the one whose roots are so deep that no storm can steal its place. In the same way, the strongest person is rarely the loudest. They do not rush to defend themselves. They do not waste energy arguing with every opinion or reacting to every insult. While others are consumed by chaos, they remain still. While others chase validation, they continue walking their path, and in the end they arrive where everyone else only dreamed of reaching. We live in a world that rewards speed, noise, and constant reaction. People believe that the fastest response is the strongest response. They think confidence is measured by how loudly someone speaks, how aggressively they defend themselves, or how quickly they prove a point. But life teaches a very different lesson. Time has a way of exposing what appearances try to hide. The loud voice may capture attention for a moment, but calm character earns respect for a lifetime. There is a power that cannot be bought, borrowed, or imitated. It is the power of a peaceful mind. A calm person does not become calm because life is easy. They become calm because they have fought their greatest battles within themselves. They have learned that every unnecessary reaction is a loss of energy. Every emotional outburst hands control to someone else. Every moment of silence, however, strengthens the mind, sharpens perception, and protects inner peace. Most people spend their lives trying to control the world around them. They try to change people's opinions, force respect, and demand understanding. But the truly wise understand that the only thing worth mastering is themselves. When you master yourself, the world loses its ability to disturb you. Criticism becomes guidance instead of pain. Failure becomes a lesson instead of defeat. Success becomes responsibility instead of pride. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is screaming, the rain is relentless. Everything around you is moving in fear. Yet inside you, there is complete stillness. That stillness is not weakness. It is the greatest form of strength. It means your peace no longer depends on circumstances. It means your direction is no longer determined by other people's emotions. It means your future is built on discipline instead of impulse. This is the secret that many overlook. Calm people are not passive. They are not indifferent. They are simply disciplined enough to choose their response instead of becoming a prisoner of their emotions. They understand that every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen the mind rather than weaken the spirit. They know that every obstacle is temporary, but the habits they build while facing it will remain forever. In this journey, you will discover why silence often speaks louder than arguments, why patience consistently defeats haste, why emotional control creates true freedom, and why those who remain calm eventually stand above the chaos that once tried to consume them. You will learn that silent strength is not about escaping life's battles. It is about entering every battle with a mind that cannot be conquered. Because in the end, victory does not belong to the loudest voice. It belongs to the person who remained calm when everyone else lost themselves. It belongs to the one who protected their peace, trusted the process, and continued moving forward without seeking approval. And perhaps today you will realize that the greatest advantage you can ever possess is not greater talent, greater wealth, or greater influence. It is a mind so calm that nothing outside of you can ever take away the power within. True strength is rarely recognized in the moment because the world has trained us to admire what is loud, fast, and impossible to ignore. We often mistake confidence for volume, power for aggression, and influence for constant attention. Yet the deepest strength does not demand to be seen. It exists quietly beneath the surface, like the roots of an ancient tree that no one applauds but everyone depends upon. When difficulties arrive, it is not appearance that determines who remains standing. It is the unseen foundation that has been built through patience, discipline, and inner stability. A calm person understands something that many spend their entire lives trying to learn. They know that every emotional reaction comes with a cost. Every unnecessary argument drains energy. Every attempt to prove oneself steals attention from what truly matters. Instead of chasing the approval of others, they invest in mastering themselves. This mastery is invisible. It cannot be measured by applause, compliments, or recognition. Yet it becomes undeniable when life begins to test character. Imagine two people facing the same criticism. One immediately becomes defensive, raising their voice and searching for reasons to justify themselves. The other listens without surrendering their peace. They examine the words carefully, accepting what is useful and releasing what is not. From the outside, the second person may appear passive, but in reality, they are demonstrating extraordinary strength. It takes far more discipline to remain composed than to react impulsively. Anyone can lose control in a difficult moment. Very few can keep control when emotions invite them to surrender. Calmness is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to experience emotion without allowing it to become your master. Fear may appear, but it does not decide your actions. Anger may arise, but it does not control your words. Disappointment may visit, but it does not destroy your purpose. This is where true strength begins. Not by eliminating emotions, but by refusing to become their prisoner. Many people believe strength is about defeating others. They compete in conversations, relationships, careers, and even personal growth. They constantly compare themselves, believing that winning means standing above someone else. But real strength has little interest in competition. It is focused on improvement. A calm mind asks a different question every day. Instead of asking, "How can I be better than others?" it asks, "How can I become better than I was yesterday?" This quiet shift transforms every challenge into an opportunity instead of a threat. Silence becomes a companion rather than something to fear. In silence, distractions fade, excuses become visible, and truth begins to speak. Most people avoid silence because it forces them to face themselves. They fill every empty moment with noise, entertainment, and endless conversation. Yet the strongest individuals regularly choose moments of stillness because they understand that clarity grows where distractions disappear. A peaceful mind is cultivated in quiet reflection, not constant stimulation. There will always be people who misunderstand calmness. Some will mistake patience for weakness. Others will interpret kindness as vulnerability. They may believe that because you choose not to react, you are incapable of defending yourself. But appearances are often deceptive. The mountain does not announce its strength. The ocean does not argue about its depth. Their presence alone is enough. Likewise, a person who has mastered themselves has no need to convince anyone of their worth. Their actions reveal what words never could. Life repeatedly proves that those who preserve their energy achieve more than those who waste it. Every moment spent defending your ego is a moment stolen from your purpose. Every unnecessary conflict distracts you from building the future you desire. Calm people understand this principle deeply. They know that attention is one of life's greatest resources, and they protect it carefully. Rather than reacting to every opinion, they remain committed to their values. Rather than chasing every opportunity, they focus on the few that truly matter. Their discipline creates consistency, and consistency eventually produces results that no amount of emotional effort can replace. This hidden strength also creates resilience. Difficulties no longer become reasons to quit. Criticism no longer becomes an excuse to lose confidence. Failure no longer becomes evidence of personal weakness. Instead, each experience becomes another lesson, added to the foundation of character. Like iron shaped by repeated fire, the calm person grows stronger with every challenge, because they understand that discomfort is not their enemy. It is their teacher. The greatest victories in life are often invisible long before they become visible. They begin with quiet decisions made when no one is watching, choosing patience instead of anger, choosing discipline instead of comfort, choosing silence instead of unnecessary conflict, choosing growth instead of blame. These choices may seem insignificant in isolation, but repeated over months and years, they transform an ordinary person into someone whose presence alone inspires confidence and trust. The quietest person in the room is not always silent because they have nothing to say. Sometimes they are silent because they have learned that wisdom does not compete with noise. It waits for the right moment, speaks with purpose, and then returns to stillness, carrying a strength that no storm can easily disturb. Silence is often misunderstood because people associate it with weakness, hesitation, or fear. They assume that if someone does not immediately respond, they have nothing to say or lack the courage to defend themselves. But silence is not the absence of strength. It is often the highest expression of it. There is a profound difference between being unable to react and choosing not to react. One comes from helplessness, while the other comes from mastery. The person who has learned to remain silent in the face of provocation has discovered a power that cannot easily be shaken. Every emotional reaction gives away a part of your control. The moment someone can predict your anger, your frustration, or your fear, they gain influence over your behavior. They no longer need to force you into making mistakes because your emotions begin doing the work for them. This is why so many conflicts continue for years. Neither side is truly responding with wisdom. They are simply reacting to one another, creating an endless cycle where emotions replace understanding. Think about how quickly a single careless word can change the direction of an entire day. One insult can lead to an argument. One argument can damage a relationship. One emotional decision can erase years of trust. Yet all of it could have been prevented if just one person had chosen silence long enough to allow emotion to settle. Silence creates space between what happens to you and how you respond. Within that space lies your greatest freedom. Instead of becoming a servant to your first impulse, you become the author of your actions. Most people speak because they feel compelled to defend themselves. They believe every accusation deserves an answer, and every misunderstanding must be corrected. But life teaches a different lesson. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every criticism requires your explanation. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you regardless of what you say. The more you try to convince them, the more energy you lose. Wisdom recognizes the difference between conversations that create understanding and arguments that only create exhaustion. Silence is not about avoiding responsibility or refusing to communicate. It is about refusing to let emotions decide the timing and quality of your words. A calm person understands that words spoken in anger rarely solve problems. They often create new ones. When the mind is clouded by emotion, judgment becomes weak. Small problems appear enormous. Simple misunderstandings become personal attacks, and temporary feelings begin making permanent decisions. By remaining silent until clarity returns, you protect both yourself and those around you from unnecessary damage. There is also a quiet confidence hidden within silence. A person who constantly seeks the last word usually feels the need to prove something. They believe their value depends upon winning every disagreement. But someone who truly knows their worth has no desire to compete in every conversation. Their identity is not built upon other people's opinions. Because they are secure within themselves, they can allow misunderstandings to exist without feeling threatened by them. Nature reflects this lesson beautifully. The deepest rivers flow with less noise than shallow streams. The strongest mountains remain silent while storms pass around them. They do not resist every gust of wind or answer every clap of thunder. They endure. Their strength is expressed through stability rather than movement. In the same way, a disciplined mind remains steady while emotions rise and fall like changing weather. It does not deny their existence, but it refuses to be controlled by them. Silence also sharpens awareness. When you are not preparing your next response, you begin to notice what others overlook. You hear not only words but intentions. You observe patterns instead of isolated moments. You recognize that many people reveal themselves without realizing it. Their fears, insecurities, ambitions, and values become visible when you simply listen. This ability to observe gives you wisdom that constant speaking can never provide. There will be moments when silence feels uncomfortable. Your pride will urge you to defend yourself immediately. Your ego will whisper that remaining quiet makes you appear weak. But strength is not measured by how quickly you answer. It is measured by how wisely you choose your response. Sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to enter a battle that serves no purpose. Sometimes the strongest statement is made without saying a single word. Over time, this discipline transforms every area of life. Relationships become healthier because unnecessary arguments disappear. Decisions become wiser because they are no longer driven by temporary emotions. Confidence becomes quieter because it no longer depends upon constant validation. People begin to trust your words more because they know you speak with intention rather than impulse. Your presence itself becomes calming because others recognize that you are not easily disturbed by external circumstances. The world will always contain noise, conflict, criticism, and misunderstanding. None of these can be completely avoided, but your response remains yours to choose. Every time you refuse to react emotionally, you strengthen your mind. Every time you replace impulse with awareness, you reclaim your freedom. Every time you choose silence over unnecessary conflict, you prove that your inner peace is more valuable than winning an argument. And that is the kind of strength that cannot be taken away by anyone or anything outside of yourself. Patience is one of the rarest qualities in a world that constantly encourages speed. Everywhere you look, people are told to act faster, achieve more quickly, and expect immediate results. Success is often measured by how rapidly someone reaches a goal, not by how wisely they travel the path. Yet life quietly teaches a different lesson. The strongest foundations are never built overnight. The deepest wisdom is never gained in a single moment. Lasting success belongs to those who have learned to wait without losing faith and to move forward without being controlled by urgency. Impulsive people often confuse movement with progress. They believe that doing something immediately is always better than taking time to observe. They rush into decisions because standing still feels uncomfortable. They speak before they think, act before they understand, and judge before they know the truth. For a brief moment, this urgency can create the illusion of confidence. But time eventually reveals the cost of impulsiveness. Poor decisions, broken relationships, unnecessary regrets, and missed opportunities often begin with a single moment of impatience. Patience is not about doing nothing. It is about knowing when to move and when to remain still. A wise person understands that timing is just as important as action itself. Even the most powerful arrow cannot reach its target if it is released before it is properly aimed. In the same way, success depends not only on effort, but also on choosing the right moment to act. Waiting with awareness is never wasted time. It is preparation. Think of a farmer planting seeds in fertile soil. No matter how much he desires the harvest, he cannot force the crops to grow overnight. Pulling on the young plant will not make it taller. It will only destroy what was beginning to develop. Instead, the farmer waters the soil, removes the weeds, protects the field, and trusts the natural process. Day after day, nothing appears to change. Yet, beneath the surface, invisible growth is taking place. Eventually, the harvest arrives exactly when it is ready. Personal growth follows the same principle. Much of your progress happens where no one can see it, including yourself. This is why patient people rarely become discouraged by slow results. They understand that every meaningful achievement requires consistent effort over time. They do not demand immediate rewards because they know that mastery cannot be rushed. Every skill, every habit, every transformation is built through repetition. While others quit because success feels too distant, the patient person continues walking, knowing that every step carries them closer to their destination. Patience also protects you from emotional decisions. When disappointment arrives, your first reaction may encourage you to abandon your goals. When criticism appears, your emotions may tempt you to prove yourself immediately. When obstacles arise, frustration may whisper that giving up is easier than continuing. But a patient mind recognizes that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent guides. Instead of making decisions in moments of emotional intensity, it allows clarity to return before choosing the next step. There is remarkable strength in observing before acting. Many situations solve themselves if given enough time. Conflicts lose intensity. Misunderstandings become clearer. Hidden truths reveal themselves. What seemed urgent yesterday often becomes insignificant tomorrow. By resisting the pressure to react immediately, you give wisdom an opportunity to replace impulse. This simple habit prevents countless mistakes that cannot easily be undone. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are rarely those who burn with intense motivation for a short period. They are those who quietly remain committed long after excitement has disappeared. They wake up each day and continue their work regardless of how they feel. They understand that consistency is stronger than intensity. Small actions repeated faithfully over months and years produce results that dramatic efforts rarely achieve. Patience also changes the way you view failure. Instead of seeing setbacks as proof that you are incapable, you begin seeing them as part of the learning process. Every mistake becomes valuable because it teaches something that success never could. Every delay becomes an opportunity to strengthen discipline. Every obstacle becomes another chance to develop resilience. Rather than asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the patient person asks, "What is this experience preparing me for?" That single shift transforms frustration into growth. There will always be people who seem to move ahead faster. Some will achieve recognition sooner. Others may appear more successful with less effort. If you constantly compare your journey to theirs, impatience will grow inside you. But every life follows a different rhythm. Every purpose unfolds according to its own timing. Comparing your progress with someone else's only distracts you from the work that belongs to you. A patient person remains focused on their own path, understanding that steady progress is more valuable than temporary speed. The greatest victories are often earned quietly through years of disciplined persistence. They are built by individuals who refused to abandon their values when results were slow, who continued learning when others became discouraged, and who trusted the process even when there was little visible evidence of success. Their strength did not come from extraordinary talent, but from extraordinary endurance. They discovered that while impulsiveness may create quick excitement, patience creates lasting achievement, and those who learn to wait with wisdom eventually arrive at places that hurried minds rarely reach, because they understood that every worthwhile destination rewards those who are willing to grow at the pace required for lasting success, rather than the pace demanded by temporary desire. Inner peace is one of the greatest forms of wealth a person can possess, yet it is often the last thing people seek. Many spend years chasing success, recognition, possessions, or approval, believing that peace will naturally follow once they have achieved enough. But life repeatedly shows that external accomplishments alone cannot quiet a restless mind. A person may have everything the world admires and still live with constant anxiety, fear, and dissatisfaction. At the same time, another person may own very little, yet walk through life with a calm confidence that cannot be shaken. The difference is not found in what they possess, but in what they have mastered within themselves. Confidence that depends on outside circumstances is fragile. If people praise you, you feel strong. If they criticize you, you begin to doubt yourself. If everything goes according to plan, you feel secure. But the moment life becomes uncertain, your confidence begins to disappear. This kind of confidence is borrowed from the world around you, and anything borrowed can eventually be taken away. True confidence is different. It is built from within. It grows from knowing that no matter what happens outside of you, you have the strength to respond with wisdom rather than fear. Inner peace begins the moment you stop trying to control everything beyond your reach. Many people exhaust themselves worrying about things they cannot change. They replay conversations that have already ended. They imagine problems that have not yet happened. They seek approval from people who have already made up their minds. This constant struggle drains energy without creating solutions. A peaceful mind recognizes the difference between what can be influenced and what must simply be accepted. Instead of fighting reality, it works with it. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means seeing life clearly. When you stop resisting every uncomfortable situation, you begin to think more clearly. Your emotions no longer cloud your judgment. You become capable of making decisions based on wisdom instead of panic. This ability creates remarkable confidence because you realize that your greatest strength does not come from controlling circumstances. It comes from controlling your response to them. There will always be uncertainty. Plans will fail. People will disappoint you. Unexpected challenges will appear without warning. If your peace depends upon life being predictable, you will spend much of your time feeling anxious. But when your peace depends upon your ability to adapt, every challenge becomes manageable. You stop fearing change because you trust yourself more than you fear uncertainty. A calm mind sees opportunities where others only see problems. During moments of crisis, most people become overwhelmed by emotion. Fear narrows their vision, making every obstacle appear larger than it truly is. But the person who has cultivated inner peace remains clear. They observe carefully, think patiently, and act deliberately. While others waste energy reacting to the storm, they quietly search for the path through it. This is why calm individuals often appear fortunate. Their success is rarely the result of luck. It is the result of clear thinking in situations where others allow emotions to take control. Inner peace also transforms relationships. When you no longer depend upon constant validation, you stop trying to please everyone. You become honest without becoming harsh. You become kind without sacrificing your self-respect. You listen more carefully because you are no longer preparing arguments in your mind. You forgive more easily because carrying resentment no longer feels worthwhile. Your presence begins to bring comfort to others because they sense stability instead of emotional unpredictability. Many people mistakenly believe that confidence is loud. They imagine someone who constantly speaks, dominates conversations, or demands attention. But genuine confidence is often quiet. It does not need to prove itself. It enters a room without seeking recognition. It remains composed during criticism because it knows its value does not depend upon another person's opinion. It celebrates the success of others without feeling threatened because it understands that another person's achievements do not diminish its own potential. Developing this kind of confidence requires daily discipline. It grows through small choices repeated consistently. Choosing gratitude instead of complaint. Choosing reflection instead of blame. Choosing patience instead of frustration. Choosing purpose instead of distraction. Every time you make one of these choices, you strengthen the foundation of your inner world. Over time, that foundation becomes so strong that external events lose their power to disturb your peace. Imagine a lighthouse standing on a rocky shore. Massive waves crash against it day after day. Powerful winds surround it from every direction. Storms arrive without warning. Yet the lighthouse continues to stand because its strength is anchored deep beneath the surface. It was never built for calm weather alone. It was built to remain steady when everything around it becomes chaotic. Your mind can become like that lighthouse. Challenges will still come. Difficult people will still exist. Unexpected losses will still happen. But your inner foundation will remain firm because it is rooted in discipline, awareness, and self-mastery rather than temporary circumstances. This is the quiet power that transforms an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. It allows you to move through success without arrogance and through failure without despair. It teaches you to remain grateful during abundance and hopeful during hardship. Most importantly, it reminds you that the greatest victory is not controlling the world around you, but becoming the kind of person whose peace cannot be stolen by the changing conditions of the world. Because a mind that has learned to rest in wisdom will always possess a confidence that remains steady long after circumstances have changed. One of the greatest signs of wisdom is knowing which battles deserve your energy and which ones deserve your silence. Many people spend their lives fighting every disagreement, defending every opinion, correcting every misunderstanding, and responding to every insult that comes their way. They believe that strength means never backing down. But in reality, constantly fighting every battle often reveals a lack of self-control rather than true courage. Calm people understand that their energy is limited, and because it is valuable, they refuse to waste it on conflicts that do not move their lives forward. Every day presents countless opportunities to react. Someone may criticize your decisions. Another person may question your abilities. Someone may misunderstand your intentions or judge you without knowing your story. Your first instinct may be to explain yourself, to prove them wrong, or to demand fairness. Yet every time you choose to engage in a meaningless conflict, you give away something that can never be recovered: your time, your attention, and your peace of mind. The strongest individuals recognize this cost, and they choose carefully where to invest themselves. Ego has a powerful voice. It constantly whispers that you must always be right, always be respected, and always have the final word. It convinces you that remaining silent is a form of defeat. But wisdom speaks much more quietly. It reminds you that not every misunderstanding needs clarification, and not every opinion deserves a response. Sometimes the greatest victory is walking away with your peace still intact, while someone else continues fighting a battle that exists only in their own mind. Think of an experienced traveler crossing a long mountain path. If they stop to argue with every person who doubts their destination, they may never reach the summit. Their focus would constantly be interrupted by distractions that offer no real value. Instead, they keep walking. They know their destination matters more than convincing strangers they are on the right path. Life works the same way. Every unnecessary conflict becomes another delay in reaching the future you are trying to build. Choosing peace over ego does not mean accepting disrespect or allowing others to mistreat you. There are moments when boundaries must be established and truth must be spoken. But even then, calm people respond with intention instead of emotion. They do not seek revenge. They seek resolution. They do not act to satisfy wounded pride. They act to protect their values. This difference changes everything. When your actions are guided by purpose rather than ego, you become impossible to manipulate. Many conflicts continue because both people are trying to win instead of trying to understand. Each person waits for the other to surrender. Neither is willing to let go of pride. As a result, small disagreements become lasting divisions. Relationships break apart. Friendships disappear. Families become distant. All because no one had the wisdom to ask whether the argument was truly worth the price. Calm people regularly ask themselves a simple question before responding: will this matter a year from now? If the answer is no, they often choose silence instead of struggle. Purpose gives life direction, while ego constantly creates distractions. A person driven by purpose wakes up with clear priorities. Their attention is focused on growth, contribution, learning, and becoming better each day. A person driven by ego spends much of their energy protecting an image, defending pride, and seeking recognition. One life moves steadily forward. The other remains trapped in endless cycles of unnecessary conflict. This is why purpose always produces greater fulfillment than pride ever can. Nature quietly demonstrates this principle. A river does not stop flowing because stones lie in its path. It simply moves around them and continues toward the ocean. If the river tried to destroy every obstacle it encountered, it would never reach its destination. Likewise, calm people do not allow every difficulty to become a battle. They adapt, adjust, and continue moving forward. Their progress is more important than proving a point. As you begin choosing your battles wisely, something remarkable happens. Your mind becomes lighter because it is no longer carrying unnecessary burdens. Your relationships improve because your words become more thoughtful. Your confidence deepens because it no longer depends on winning arguments. Instead of reacting to every challenge, you begin directing your energy toward meaningful goals. Every hour once spent defending yourself becomes another hour invested in learning, creating, serving, or growing. People may not understand your silence at first. Some will assume you have nothing to say. Others may mistake your patience for weakness. Let them think what they choose. Your responsibility is not to manage every opinion, but to remain faithful to your own principles. Time has a way of revealing the difference between temporary appearances and lasting character. Eventually, those who once questioned your quietness will begin to recognize the strength that has always been there. The most successful people are rarely those who wasted their lives trying to defeat everyone around them. They are those who mastered themselves, stayed focused on their purpose, protected their peace, and refused to let distractions steal their attention. They understood that every unnecessary battle delayed meaningful progress, while every wise decision to walk away created more space for growth, clarity, and lasting success, because the greatest victories in life are not won by defeating other people, but by refusing to let your own ego stand in the way of the person you were created to become.